Hi, this is Tina Malia. We are at my studio today in Venice, California. Happy to have you along. My father bought me a guitar when I was maybe 13, 14, kind of to my mom's chagrin. And I started playing the guitar and teaching myself music and kind of secretly listening to music other than classical, which was kind of taboo in my house. Joni Mitchell, Ani DeFranco, Alison Krauss, of course Sarah McLachlan, Sade. Those were some of my favorites at the time. My first albums, Shores of Avalon, Jaya Bhagavan, and Silent Awakening, were all recorded mainly with acoustic instruments, which I love. Acoustic world instruments, Celtic instruments, African drums, Middle Eastern instruments. But it was at an Earth Dance Festival in California a few years back. I got sort of dragged into the electronic dome where actually some of the producers that are now on this album were playing, and I fell in love with the music. I didn't mean to, but I went in there and I heard it and I just danced and danced and danced and danced. And the next day I went back to my friend and I said, will you take me back there again tomorrow night? Because I loved it so much. That was sort of my introduction into falling in love with electronic music. It happened immediately. As all things, you know, you just have to move with life. And the reality was I was really enjoying it, and that's how it started incorporating into my album. The Lost Frontier is the first song that I wrote on this album. I had sent some music to Random Rab and said, hey, mess around with this and see if you come up with a beat or something fun, and he sent me what is now more or less the music. I stayed up all night long and just listened over and over and over again and started getting imagery. It was a real feeling, and in the morning the song was written. Serendipity is one of my favorite tracks on this album, and I think it's because there's something about that song that always makes me really, really happy every time I hear it, and every time I work on it. It just came alive and became one of my favorite on the album. Still makes me happy. So while I was working on this project, I sent a copy of the working version of Undercover to Lauren Ashton, aka Bass Nectar, and I just sent it over to him because I wanted someone to remix it, and I didn't actually think for some reason that he would be the one to do it. So I sent it to him. I was like, hey, do you know anybody who might want to remix this song? And sent him an email, and a few minutes later I got a bing on my phone and I was like, oh, that must be Lauren telling me he wants to remix it, and actually it was. So that was a really fun process that we had of just sending files back and forth to each other and creating the song underwater as a pre-mix, I say, because it came out actually before the original version. I had the great fortune on this album to actually work and write some music with some of my favorite electronic music artists of this time. Random Rab, Evan Bluetech, Lynx. I had the opportunity to go to London and work with Jamie Cato, who produced One Giant Leap and also worked with Dido. All wonderful people and some of my favorite producers and writers in this genre. When it came to mixing this album, I really wanted somebody amazing who knew what they were doing, because you can bring all of the music together and all the pieces and edit it, but it's, in my opinion, really the mixing and the mastering engineer that will bring it to life. I had the great pleasure of working with Kevin Killen in New York City, and he's worked with many of my favorite artists and many icons in the pop world. I will definitely be touring this album. I'm actually doing all of this so that I can get back on the road and tour, because what I really love is performing and singing in front of people. That's where so much of my joy comes from. So what this tour will look like, it's gonna be a little bit different. I do have an electric guitar. I played a lot of electric guitar on this album, so I'll be playing electric guitar, I'll be playing keyboards, I will be playing acoustic guitar and be incorporating some of my catalog music, and it's gonna be really fun. We have a drummer, I have an amazing bass player, we have a guitar player. Music is a place of refuge for me, so in the end of the day, when I create the music that I do, I have an experience of really having somewhere to go. And that's what I hope to offer the people who listen to this album. One of the things dearest to my heart, of course, which I think comes through in my music, is the earth and how we treat the earth and the trees, and just really making sure that we go into this next time period, we don't forget about the planet that we live on and how it sustains us. I have the softest spot in my heart for indigenous cultures all over the world. They carry so much history and beauty and color and culture, and I hate to see it dying and dispersing. I would really love to be a part of supporting young women and girls in learning about themselves and learning the importance of educating themselves and becoming something more than often what they're told that they can be. When I'm creating music and creating imagery and dress and style, I really think, you know, like I said in The Lost Frontier, would we hand this to our daughters? This is something that if I had a daughter, I would want to teach her and show her, so that's a really important thing to me. The album will be coming out in summer of 2012. I'm really excited about it, and I have an amazing team that I've been working with on the release, so yeah, please look out for it, and we'll see you soon.